iPad kind of length.
Well, look at that left leg. He doesn't even want to get that left leg anywhere near the ball. That gives him the chance to hit through the offside, slice it. If they come short, he can get his arms through the ball and pull it leg side.
You've got to have real confidence in your own hand-eye coordination as well to leave the stumps so open. Delaney back on strike really has lifted his strike rate. 29 off 19 he is. Now he's just going to kick on here. Might be a second. There's been some power. There's also been one or two that haven't been as pretty, but making the most of it during the power play.
You gotta love T20 cricket. Daggers. A few out the screws. Thick inside edge. Thick over third man. Beautiful.
Long off's out. Just a single. And 13 coming from that one. So the power play is done. Leicestershire 49 for 1.
And Gareth Delaney. Harry Dearden got going early, but Delaney's carried on. Good power play for Leicestershire. This was Dearden. Simple catch for David Bettingham. Plenty of good strokes through the offside by Delaney. Bit of precision, plenty of power. All in all, a pretty good power play.
दोस्तों आपका फैंटेसी एप्लीकेशन या फिर ड्रीम 11 में लॉस हो रहा है, जल्दी से व्हाट्सएप कर दीजिए। व्हाट्सएप नंबर आपकी स्क्रीन पर है दोस्तों। फ्री टिप मिलेगी रोजाना, आपका लॉस रिकवर होगा। लॉस रिकवर के लिए जल्दी से व्हाट्सएप कर दीजिए। व्हाट्सएप नंबर स्क्रीन पर है।
Relaxed. Umpire Robinson. Oh, Nottinghamshire and England opener. Tidy start. 3 in the deep on the leg side. Deep square, deep mid wicket, long on. Long off, deep cover. That's nicely bowled. It's following Delaney. This is very, very tidy. Tucking him up, looking offside all the time here, Delaney.
Yorker Central. Unbelievable scenes. Superb, it must be said. Cramping Delaney up.
So a little paddle sweep comes in useful. Oh, he's missed it. He's missed it. Pointer has. Travaskis has bowled a beautiful over, forcing Delaney into the mistake. Pointer can't capitalise.
Well, that's disappointing. Travaskis does all the hard work, outfoxes Delaney. Pointer lets him down.
Well, a maiden. Well bowled, Liam Travaskis. 7 overs gone. The Foxes 49 for 1.
Come on, lads! Come on, Scotty, keep going, boy!
49 for 1 from 7. Leicestershire motoring along nicely.
Oh, yes.
Not managed to complete a game thus far in the 2020 Blast campaign. Well, that's gone miles. That's gone a very long way indeed. Brings up the 50 for Leicestershire in some style.
That's my man, Aaron Lilly.
That's not that. Come on, mate.
Steal round the wicket. Trying to cramp Lilly for room, but does the exact opposite. And that has gone many, many a mile down the stairwell. Send a search party out for it.
This way, boy. Come on, mate. Get his got. Oh.
Almost lobbed the gentlest of catches back.
Come on, boys. Come on, boys. Nice, mate. Good Scott. Nice, buddy.
Ollie, great to have you up here in the commentary box, although pretty sure you'd rather be strapping the pads on for Surrey somewhere in the Blast.
Cheers, Butch. Yeah, it's pretty frustrating being able to sort of watch so much cricket and not being able to get out there for a while. But yeah, it's part of sport, I guess, is these injuries that we encounter.
Bang! That's gone miles as well. That's a beautiful strike.
Great swing of the bat. It's interesting backlift, but he's a pretty clean striker of it.
He certainly leaves himself with a huge arc to swing the hands. Toe of the bat pointing skyward, holding the grip right at the very end for maximum leverage. And that's a really good over for Leicestershire. 62 for 1. Slightly uppish, but Lilly will turn over the strike. So what's the prognosis then? You've redone the original injury from 2019, have you?
Yeah, I've pretty much done exactly the same as I did last year. So
he's nailed that one as well. That's not a good delivery from Travaskis. Too short. Free hit down the leg side. Delaney in absolutely no mood to allow him to get away with that.
Yeah, he's just tried to drag his length back there, I guess, and go away from that Yorker option, and hasn't paid off for that smaller boundary on the leg side there.
So it did appear to be a very innocuous injury. Just a regulation slide. So how exactly has it popped out under those circumstances?
Well, after last year's operation, after last year's operation, there was always going to be slightly more of a risk that it was going to pop out again at some point. And I think I actually slightly injured it the week before. I had a big dive and I heard a click, but sort of managed to shake it off.
And did that affect you batting then? You say you potentially did it in the week before that test match.
I want to say yes, but because I played two pretty average shots to get out after, but no, it didn't. No, it didn't. It felt okay, just a few more anti-inflams and a bit of work in it.
But yeah, it's pretty frustrating. So I think, yeah, the damage might have been done the week before, and then it just loosened up those joints and what I had done repaired before, and then yeah, popped out, and then obviously got to go through that surgery process again.
Delaney will keep the strike. Partnership now worth 54 from 33. Leicestershire going well. So the batting looked like it was fun at times during the 2 Test match series. 2 good bowling attacks, West Indies and Pakistan, and some interesting conditions at times as well.
Yeah, we had some interesting conditions there up in Old Trafford. I think that first game against Pakistan, there was quite a bit of spin involved, and yeah, it just felt tough at times in that series. So yeah, I think when it did get flat, luckily, obviously Zach Crawley hit an amazing double 100, and Joss with that 150 as well. So we cashed in. Well, they cashed in when it did get slightly easier conditions to bat in. But two strong attacks we played against. That Pakistan attack was slightly younger, and then the West Indies had a little bit more experience, but some good pace involved and some good spin as well. So yeah, it had its own challenges.
Back to pace now for Durham. Fumble, they'll come back for the second. Wrong end as well from the fielder. Durham looking a little bit ragged as the partnership continues to build.
I think you'll probably see them bowling slightly more into the wicket from this end with that pretty big boundary out there, and sort of they've just got to try and nick as many 2s as they can by the looks of it here.
Oh, that's unlucky. When it's going against you, it continues to pour for Durham, and that's 50 for Delaney. Entertaining and enterprising stuff from the young Ireland opening batsman.
Like we said before, he's one of those players that, I guess, as a bowler, you look like you're going to be in the game with that backlift, but yeah, he's timed it beautifully here.
He has a strike rate of above 150 in international T20, and you can see why. He certainly doesn't die wondering. That interesting style of his. 6 4s, 2 6s, strike rate just under 150. It's the place to bowl it. The man who has his hands so far outside the line of his body, so far outside the line of off stump, you don't want to give him any sort of width whatsoever. It's the second time he's Chinese cut one past the leg stump for 4.
Yeah, they've clearly worked out where they want to be bowling at him here, just sort of at the body line, and try and cut out that backward point cover region, because he's times them amazingly through there.
And how was the bubble for weeks on end? It must have been very, very tough.
Yeah, the bubble was tough. It had its own challenges involved.
No, he's not going to get away with that. No, Cass is not impressed. He feels there might have been some sort of contact with the body of Delaney. Yeah, I mean, the stir craziness must have come into it at times.
Yeah, absolutely. It had its challenges, like I said. Just probably escaping from cricket was the hardest thing, I guess, when things don't always go your way as well, as they do sometimes.
Slammed at mid-on. Oh, it's been spilt, diving low to the left, and that's a let-off for Delaney. Matt Potts. It would have been a terrific effort. Great grab. Durham could have used it. Another chance. Goes begging. Lily gets a life this time, and Durham have only themselves to blame at the halfway point. 84 for 1.
I think, yeah, we've seen here, he sort of showed he could play all around the wicket, but sort of targeted that. Sort of got that front leg out of the way and opened up his body and used any width that he can. As a seriously nice shot there. Clearly a pretty clean striker of the ball. Rode his luck along the way, but yeah, there's some amazing shots in there.
Very fine ball striking indeed. Gets that width again, and that has been nailed over wide, long off. And it's all the way for 6 more.
Come on, boys. Keep going here, lads. Keep going, boys. Come on, Betsy. Keep going here. Come on, boys. Come on.
Travaskis has got to get that line closer to leg stump. It's Delaney.
That's where he wants to be bowling, I think, here. Obviously, not a lot of spin involved, just trying to get under the bat and trying to sort of not allow him to get any sort of momentum under it.
That's beautifully played. Created the width for himself and has glided it backward a point, evading a pair of fielders in the process. This is starting to get very painful for Durham indeed.
Well done, Clarkie.
Partnership now 77. Durham had the chance to end it. Matty Potts at mid-on. Dropped Delaney. And the very next delivery, the skipper, Nathan Remington, put down Lily.
Come on, mate.
Two pretty tough chances, but ones at this level, and you'd expect to take. And I think in the T20, fielding is just as important as any other aspect of the game.
One then, Cogs. Well done, Coggers. They're moving, mate.
Noticed as I was driving into the ground, we had an interesting transport on the way up here. No train for you. Limousine, was it?
I wish. No, I had lucky enough to have a driver swing by my flat this morning.
96 for 1. We'll hear more about that in a minute.
दोस्तों, क्या आपका ड्रीम 11 में लॉस हो रहा है, फ्री टीम चाहिए रोजाना, तो आप हमें व्हाट्सएप कर सकते हैं। आपका लॉस रिकवर हो जाएगा। जल्दी से लॉस रिकवर करने के लिए व्हाट्सएप कर सकते हैं। व्हाट्सएप नंबर आपकी स्क्रीन पर है। जल्दी से व्हाट्सएप नंबर सेव करके हमें व्हाट्सएप कर दीजिए ताकि आपका लॉस जल्दी रिकवर हो जाए। रोजाना अच्छी टीम मिलेगी दोस्तों, फ्री में। कोई भी प्राइम लेने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, कहीं पैसा देने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, सिर्फ फ्री में टीम मिलेगी। हम जैसा कहेंगे वैसा करोगे तो काफ़ी अच्छा विनिंग होगा। विनिंग अच्छा होगा, काफ़ी अच्छा लॉस रिकवर होगा।
So just going back to that, then you had a chauffeur-driven car come and pick you up this morning. Is that right?
Yeah, I asked for a chopper, but they sent me a Mercedes.
Nice nap on the way up as well. Shot. That's a cracker. It's a poor delivery, yes, but it needed dealing with. And it was dealt with in no uncertain terms by Aaron Lilly. It brings up the 100 for the Foxes.
Yeah, no, I had a nice little nap on the way up this morning. Watched a bit of the Tiger Woods documentary as well. So, no, it was great service. This Lilly looks like he's sort of trying to play the role of getting Delaney on strike here. The way he's striking them, picking up his own boundaries here and there, and then just keeping rotating them, getting Delaney back on.
It's up and over. Again, that leverage that Delaney is able to get, even when he doesn't time the ball out of the middle of the bat. There's enough of a swing there. Get the ball up and over the infield. England white ball squads for the Australia series being announced about 2 o'clock this afternoon. I suppose you have some hope of getting yourself in the white ball shake up at some point, but those hopes have been put well on the back burner by the injury.
Yeah, I've any issues the selectors had, I've sort of ruled out. But no, that's the sides that they've been putting out in the white ball side. They're pretty set, to be honest, and they have been for a while. So if you can break into that side, however long it may be, it's a good achievement with some of the talent they've got on show.
Scamper through for a single to finish the 12th. 105 for one now with 8 to go. Let's have a look at a bit of you in action before the shoulder went. 91 against the West Indies.
Got a bit of luck in there.
So that's your area at the moment, isn't it? People serving you up nice wide half volleys and you slicing them over gully.
Yeah, you just gotta hope they don't go to hand sometimes. You need a bit of luck. You need a bit of luck.
No, I was there for your maiden 100 in Johannesburg.
Yeah, it was an amazing feeling, sort of getting that first one. Hopefully there can be a few more down the line.
Well, it's been what's 3 of you in very recent times to make your first. And there's Dom Sibley at when was that, Cape Town? Now Zach Crawley and yourself. Oh, that's gone straight up in the air. Take it, yes. They've clung on to one. Travaskis has the wicket. It is the end of Delaney, and he has played quite magnificently for his 68.
One finally goes to hand, but no, he's played his part here, Delaney, and got Leicester into a really good position.
Virtual high fives for Travaskis. Delaney goes for 68. It's 106 for 2. Well, 7.4 overs to go. The platform has been set for the Foxes. Chance for Durham and their skipper to try and regain some control of this contest. Colin Ackerman is the new batsman. On the striker's end.
He's done seriously nicely here, Travaskis. It's never easy, especially as a spinner who doesn't necessarily have a mystery ball, but to be able to bowl this many overs on the bounce without really properly getting lined up.
We are about 10 minutes.
Catch him!
Well, that's gone
Just
way up in the air. Plugged just inside the boundary hoardings. And it's another 6 for Lily.
just as I say that, gets parked into the stands.
You'll find that happens often in this gig. Yeah, I was going to say, it must be nice to have the sort of group of young batsmen in that test team all making strides at the same time.
One ball to go.
Yeah, it is very nice. I think we all sort of were very fresh-faced to it all in New Zealand.
In the air again, he's taken it. Mike with the catch.
Great catch there.
It's not Ben Mike, he's playing for Leicester. Bellingham at backward point, diving forward. Replace the divots with the knee, and he manages to cling on. So Durham have taken 2 catches, made 2 breakthroughs. Ackerman goes first ball for naught. Durham get a foothold in the contest once more. 113 for 3.
One in there, moving, dig a stand, back that. Yeah, lovely, short out.
So a bit of a resurrection for Durham. A couple of quick wickets. Delaney and swiftly after Colin Ackerman. Good news for Leicestershire supporters that Aaron Lilly's still there and seeing them well. Lydia Greenway, first time this afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hi, Daggers.
Yes, Sean. Bowlers.
Yeah, I've been impressed with the start that Leicestershire have got off with, especially Gareth Delaney. Seeing the replay of this wicket. Good catch in the end, diving forwards. They're always tough. Sometimes see them pop out. Elbows hit the floor. Well trained. Must be a golfer.
Yeah, lovely. Brilliant, Sean.
Well, especially when you're at someone else's house. Always nice to keep it tidy. Still reeling about the extravagances laid out for our special guest summariser today. Nicely run. Chauffeur-driven limousine up here. He'll now go and relax in his trailer, Ollie Pope. Quick massage, perhaps.
Thought it was a green room, Daggers.
Not for Pope. I just parked my bike round the back. Good over. 5 coming from it, 118 for 3. So a slow opening 3 or 4 overs for Leicestershire, but they really managed to get it together with Delaney.
Can reap the rewards.
Well, Chavaskis is
Samit Patel at square leg fields, and Yorkshire have a run on the board. So Notts are Chris Nash, Alex Hales, Joe Clark, Ben Duckett, Tom Moores, Dan Christian, Stephen Mullaney, Samit Patel, Luke Fletcher, Matt Carter and Jake Ball. Adam Live is Cola Cadmore's opening partner. Played nicely by all accounts yesterday. Jonathan was there. I'm sure he'll tell us more about it as the game goes on. Live, good record here at Trent Bridge. He's on strike and slams this one away, and he'll get a boundary, cutting it just to the left of Samit Patel and to the right of Ben Duckett. And a shriek of music, if that's the right word. I don't think it is, but a blast of music out of the speakers here at Trent Bridge signals the first boundary. Yorkshire, Adam Lyth, Tom Kohler-Cadmore, Joe Root, Harry Brook, Will Frayne, who had a very brief time with Notts a couple of years ago, Johnny Tattersall, Jordan Thompson, Matt Fisher, George Hill, Matt Pillans and Josh Poisden. Ball number 3 is full and straight. Live went deep into his crease. We lost the sight of the ball. Obviously you can only see Tom Moores here playing in a very central strip right in front of us here, and somehow it just got wedged under Live, who's gone on the slog sweep here. He's taken the aerial route. Stephen Mullaney's after it, puts the slide in, and there'll be a couple more. So no real surprise that Yorkshire going after the runs in the early stages. They'll want to make the most of this power play. Notts will be desperate to part this pair and try and get rid of Joe Root early if they can. 7 without loss. Carter bowls, and slightly miscued there by Live. He was trying to clip it away towards mid-wicket, and the ball runs away on the offside. And there's no run. Seen James Taylor here, England's selector. A lot of players here that might potentially catch his eye. Next one's cut into the offside and no run. So 3 dot balls in the over. That boundary spoilt it a little bit, but Yorkshire up and running. There's 7 without loss, 6 of them to Live.
Yeah, and that was a good piece of bowling, the last delivery of the over. He saw Adam Lyth step back, and it was almost as if he changed his action, what he was going to do with the ball in mid-delivery. So intelligent bowling from Matt Carter, but not a bad start from a Yorkshire perspective. 7 without loss after the first, and all these two have had a look at a few, particularly Adam Lyth. As Dave mentioned yesterday, Adam Lyth 61 for Yorkshire, who made 220 for 5 against Derbyshire, and he batted extremely well. Got away his favoured pull shot once or twice. It just felt a little bit more brutal than Joe Root's knock. Root piercing the gaps to great effect yesterday. So
just quickly, Jonathan, there's some breaking news. ECB have just announced their white ball squads to play Australia. Nobody in for Notts, but Yorkshire of interest here in the T20 squad. 3 players: Adil Rashid, Johnny Bairstow and David Milan. In the ODI squad also
diminutive player, very good.
Yeah, this is a fantastic use of the hands. He's got in a brilliant position. He's trusted himself. So watch here on contact, so still. Not necessarily a bad ball. Low full toss. You can see what he's trying to do, but a brilliantly executed shot.
Incredible, isn't it? He's taken that off, what, probably base of middle stump. That's the one. James Middlebrook. Emerald stand end, the football ground end.
Look at that. Not much movement at all. Just trusting his eye, nice and still, not backing away too much.
Not got a great deal of margin for error. No matter how many times you see something like that, and I know they practice it for hours and hours on end against the machines, against the dog throwers and all the rest of it, it's still, in a match situation, to see it get done and executed so well, it still blows the mind somewhat.
Especially in this format of the game, I think youngsters growing up watching it, you know, they think it is all about clearing the ropes down the ground, whacking big sixes, but that sort of innovation is just as impactful.
Fine leg has come up. One's gone back. And had he connected Aaron Lilly, it might have cleared the emerald stand. Time was, he used to socially distance out of choice from Paul Nixon. Oh, very nice. Very nice. How many runs have come down towards fine, very fine leg? Aaron Lilly's enjoying it.
Certainly is enjoying it. It wasn't a bad delivery at all. Managed to nutmeg himself.
At the nutmeg?
I think it is the nutmeg, yeah. Natalie Siver, England women's player, we saw that World Cup final a couple of years ago. Got the nickname the nutmeg.
Hammered away, he's got all of it. Fabulous way to bring his half century up. It was a gift that Lilly doesn't miss out, appreciated from his teammates.
Well, this is a brilliant innings from Lilly. He's come in, he's injected some momentum, or continued with it. The opener's got them off to a good start. This is a brilliant shot to bring up his 50. Down the ground, bludgeoned, low full toss. Teammates there showing their appreciation. Paul Nixon in the background. How much damage can he do if he stays in for these last few overs?
Well, the platform's been set 137 for 3. There's damage limitation here for Durham. Tens gets Leicestershire to 177. They'll be hoping for more. Remington back into the attack. Well bowled from Remington. Safest delivery seemingly at the moment. Look at this. The angle of the bat. We did name it the nutmeg. It was used to be called the draw. Nutmeg just had such a better ring to it.
Yeah, I just wonder how intentional this shot was as well. I think sometimes as a batter you can surprise yourself. You've got that awareness of where your feet are. It's a well-bowled Yorker. See, afterwards there are a few smiles from him.
Out of the back of the hand, he's not got all of it. Straight down the throat. Deep backward square. Remington's return reaps dividends for Durham. And it's the end of Lewis Hill.
Well, it was a slower ball from Remington, 61 miles an hour out the back of the hand. Nice simple catch in the end. That's the end of Lewis Hill. He's gone for 9. Leicester 139 for 4.
That's enormous from Lilly. It's in his arc, and when it is, it gets dispatched straight into the western stand. And after the delight for Durham, the despair of the following ball.
Well, this is just such a powerful strike from Lilly. It was in his arc. It's a decent sized boundaries here at Headingley. Lovely strike.
It's gone a long way back. Sometimes we're prone to exaggeration, but that has gone 10, 12 rows into the western stand. It is the shorter of the two square boundaries, but still. That slow ball just sat up beautifully. 3 6s for Lilly now to add to his 5 4s. Change of angle from Remington. Tom Taylor is a new man for Leicestershire. Former Derbyshire man, found a home at Grace Road. Another clean striker of the ball. Off the mark immediately. Durham won't mind that too much. Keeps the strike for the following over. 3 to go, 147 for 4.
Well, the Durham bowlers have had plenty to think about during this innings so far. Hofflin and Remington picking up a wicket each. Travaskis, he's picked up a couple with his left arm spin. He bowled well in his early overs. Leicestershire have just set themselves a brilliant platform. Spoke about earlier, the average first innings score here, 170. I think they're well on for that.
And Paul Coughlin returning. He's got a third man. Mid-off is up inside the circle. 3 deep on the leg side. That's just what they didn't want. There was the gap, even though it had to be forced away. Tom Taylor managed to do so. Brings up the 150 for Leicestershire.
This is a good shot. He's just giving himself some space. Open that front leg. Hit powerfully enough to evade that despairing dive. Mid-off up in the ring.
You've got to know that that's possibly going to happen if you're going to bowl that length. I think the change has already been made. Long off now going in. Deep cover has been brought in. So the third man's still there. It's worked very well for Leicestershire. 5 runs from the first 2 deliveries. It gets Lilly back on strike. Great to see the sun beating down. A lot of this blast has been decimated, or the opening games, because of the poor weather. It's just a shame that we've not got a full house. Hopefully before too long, that may start to happen. Originally there was going to be some pilot schemes that were going to be started up to allow few spectators. No, Surrey had one planned, but that was knocked on the head. Bit of a miscommunication, but Pointer couldn't clasp the ball.
Yeah, I know a lot of fans will be itching to get back to watch some live sport. Actually, the grounds like here at Headingley have the Clash of the Roses. We covered that game last year and that was just unbelievable. Such a brilliant atmosphere.
Was that the day it was 44 degrees? Nicely run. A couple picked up by Leicestershire. We were in the pod. Now we're up in the gods and in our normal commentary position, but we were in the pod last year. Wood-lined, 44 degrees. It was toasty. Went through a few shirts that day. Everyone's on the move. But you're right. Nothing better to see the Western Stand jumping. Rose's game.
Talk about following the batter when they move. That was a brilliant piece of bowling.
Not quite got all of it. Taylor wanted the second, but quickly sent back. I think of all those games at Middlesex, Surrey and Lords, and the overall always full to bursting. The Battle of the Bridge, Essex, Kent. In the West Country, Gloucestershire, Somerset. Some great Midlands one, Pears and the Bears. Again, really well run from the Foxes. Set themselves up very nicely for a couple of overs blitz at the end. 158 for 4. There's the projections. You're going to be thinking that number towards the right-hand side of the screen. Matty Potts returning for his last over. He's been very tidy. Just 18 runs conceded from his 3. Third man fine leg up inside the circle.
(2015) Very talented all-round player.
Oh, clever. Very clever, Tom Taylor. Movement in the crease. It's well bowled from Matty Potts, but then the adjustment right at the end brings yet another boundary.
Yeah, you're right, Daggers. It wasn't necessarily a bad ball. This is a bowler's worst nightmare. You have to give credit to the batter when they play these sorts of shots. Very, very funky, but well executed. Perhaps changed his mind in the last minute as well.
Hammered down the ground, chance of a catch, and comfortable. Very comfortable. Sean Dixon with a safe pair of hands at long off. Tom Taylor's little flurry comes to an end.
Yeah, a nice little cameo. Going big down the ground, looking to clear. The ropes, nice comfortable catch in the end. The good news is he's probably back on strike. And Taylor, he's gone for 12. It's 163 for 5.
You've got to have a goldfish memory as a bowler. You've got to understand that you're going to get hit for boundaries. As frustrating as it is, considering the one that he bowled before just was flicked over third man. It's done just that. Thrashed away. Lily should pick up 2.
You see a lot of the fielding practice these players do. Is probably the more simpler one he would have got today.
Just seemed to roll his fingers over the side, just take the energy off the ball. Matty Potts. He bowled well today. Successful. Durham last year. Another slower ball, 73 miles an hour. Some tidy figures, 11 dot balls for Potts. Success for Durham last year. Now Ben Mike. Some tidy figures, 11 dot balls for Potts. A young Leicestershire product at the crease, right on his stumps as well. Leicestershire product. Just a leg by to finish the over. The wicket and 9 runs coming from it. So 1 over. Finish the over. The wicket and 9 runs coming from it. So 1 over remains, 167 for 5 are the Foxes.
He'd be cursing himself. He would have wanted to have taken that. He'd be cursing himself. He would have wanted to have taken that. He did all the hard work.
Well, but they'll think of 2 here. Going to have to be swift, Lily, and is. Those leg side fielders all on the boundary edge. All on the boundary edge. Just knock it to the 30-yard circle. There should be 2. That's what Leicestershire managed. Career strike rate that Niall O'Brien was talking about earlier on in the innings for Aaron Lilly, around about 155. He says it's the 4th best in T20 history. It's one better today, 156.8. It's very fine short form cricketer. Sliced away. Another chance, and that is nicely taken, really nicely taken. It's the end of Aaron Lilly, understandable in the last over. Alex Lees takes a really well judged catch, would have been spinning, moving away from him. Lilly goes.
Yeah, very good catch, well taken, over the shoulders, always tough. Lilly has gone for 69, a brilliant innings, just for 45 balls. Leicestershire, 172 for 6.
Really good knock. Fabulous partnership put together between Lilly and Delaney, putting Leicestershire in this strong position. Another relatively new recruit for Leicestershire, George Rhodes, coming over from Worcestershire back end of last year. Oh, well played, Ben Mike. One bounced for, again, it just slightly the wrong length from Remington with that slower ball. Allowed Mike to manoeuvre the ball over extra.
The offside field was up. This is where he was looking to go. It was just that length that allowed him to go up and over. Well played.
Final ball for the Foxes. Can they make it to 180? Just shy. But overall, I think they'll be delighted with the score that they've posted. 177 for 6 in their 20 overs. Ben Mike finishing 6 not out. And Durham maybe made to rue a couple of missed opportunities. The 2 batsmen that made the most impact for the Foxes. A missed stumping, a couple of drop catches. Could have been a whole lot different story for Durham. I think Leicestershire will be pleased to have them on the board. So the story on number 2 and 3, Delaney and Lilly, 68 and 69, the core of that 177 for 6. Little cameo from Tom Taylor, 12 off 6. It was Delaney and Lilly provided the backbone for the Foxes. Matty Potts and Liam Travaskis, the best of the Durham bowlers. The rest a little bit expensive. So Durham in search of their first victory of the season, having been defeated in their opening 2 games, require 178 runs to win, but a tick under 9-0. Well, coming up on Sky Sports a little bit later on, Derbyshire versus Lancashire in the Vitality Blast. They're coming up at 6:30 here from Headingley, part of our double header. And we shall see how Durham get on in that run chase in a few moments.
Practice qualifying and the Grand Prix itself from Monza from Italy. And then tomorrow, of course, the third and final T20 International against Pakistan from Old Trafford at 5:30. Can Pakistan level the series or win England win yet another one this summer? Okay, so here's where we are at the halfway point. Foxes batted first and made 177 for 6. Brilliant stuff from Aaron Lilly and Gareth Delaney to import one from Lancashire. Yes,
All good.
very nice. So we're going to start with Lilly or Delaney. Delaney first. Very nice. Delaney first. So we're going to start. Lilly. Start with Lilly or Delaney. And that should do us, I reckon. Delaney first.
Just tuck your cable into your pocket for me. I'm not allowed.
Yeah.
Come on, Lilly.
He's been called worse.
Okay. Yeah.
He's been called worse.
Okay. Yeah.
But there must be 40 yards between them, so as long as you can get enough power with the bottom hand, the shot is on, and very much so then for Lyth. And of course, the way Samit Patel is bowling, if that was a regulation left arm spinner, then effectively as an off spinner would to the left hander. So 42 for Adam Lyth from 25. Yorkshire building quite nicely. 70 for 1. Patel in again. Lyth steps away this time, and he's going to get a maximum this time. Yep, stepped away to leg, and Patel dropped the ball there kindly enough for him. And that was effortless, really, from Adam Lyth. Didn't seem to give it a particularly large amount of bottom hand, and it cleared the ropes quite comfortably away at the U Energy Stand side of the ground. 76 for 1.
First 6 of the contest. Been a couple that have just fallen short. He's looking dangerous now.
76 for 1. Patel in, and Lyth gets this one away backward of square with the reverse sweep this time, and comes to celebrate 50 with his partner Joe Root. 52 to Adam Lyth. Successive half centuries then. It's taken him 33 minutes, 27 deliveries, 7 fours and 2 sixes now. And the partnership also is worth 51 from 25 deliveries. Excellent partnership from Yorkshire. 16th T20 half century now for Adam Lyth.
Yeah, of course, he pulled Luke Fletcher for a 6 earlier, didn't he? I just said that was the first 6. It's the second.
That was the Mulaney one, wasn't it? They parried over the bar.
Yeah.
This one, next one, turned then out into the leg side. Ben Duckett coming in off the mid-wicket boundary to field, and they happy to settle for 1.
Expensive over this for Samit. Already gone for 16. There's 1 ball left. Yorkshire on course for 200 here at the moment.
So in comes Patel to Root. Full length delivery, whipped into the leg side. He's going to pick up a single out there to Joe Clark. 82 for 1 at the end of the 8th. 17 from that over.
Yeah, pace off the ball didn't have any influence there. Christian again, I think. The skipper's got the ball at the far end. Just having a word with Chris Nash. Chance to towel off and refresh for Adam Live, who's taken his helmet off. Joe Root doesn't, but I think Root has changed gloves. 82 for 1. The man out, Tom Kohler-Cadmore, the Yorkshire skipper, in the 4th over, came charging towards Matt Carter, and once he was beaten by the flight, was stumped by Tom Moores for 6. In fact, it's going to be Stephen Mullaney after all that. So Mullaney to bowl his first of the afternoon. 82 for 1. Bowling to Root, who goes for the scoop, just gets a little bit of bat on it, and they take the single. It took the pace off it really, as it just trickled to Luke Fletcher on the discs at third man. 83 for 1. Root on 22 from 15. Live on 53 from 26. And they've added 54 now as well. The 50 partnership coming and going in an instant. Adam Lythe, who has the highest score in domestic T20 cricket, a knock of 161 against Northants 3 years ago. Mullaney to bowl to him. This one's hit. Cries of catch it. It's gone up in the air. Now this should be an opportunity for Dan Christian, and he takes it, and Lythe's gone. Well judged by Christian. Stephen Mullaney, as he so often does, comes on and gets a really important wicket. That's well battered from Adam Lythe, but that 54-run partnership comes to an end with Dan Christian taking a catch, running round from the long-on boundary. Lythe's figures 29 balls faced. 7 4s and 2 6s. And Stephen Mullaney has his man Lythe out for 53, and the wicket coming in the 9th over.
Yeah, super knock from a Yorkshire perspective then for Adam Lythe. Played some cracking shots, kept the scoreboard ticking when the boundaries weren't there, and just the sort of partnership that Yorkshire have been lacking on a consistent basis in recent times. So nice to see a little bit of consistency over the last couple of days in that respect. Can Harry Brook continue that momentum which has been building in the visitors' favour and just in recent last couple of overs?
He knew he hadn't got it, didn't he?
Yeah.
There's cries of catch immediately from all the Notts team. Obviously Mullaney taking pace off the ball. Lythe gone for the big hit, but it went straight up. Still carried quite a long way, and Dan Christian had to judge it nicely, but the Australian big hands, safe hands, was never going to drop that one. They crossed. Root on strike. Mullaney into bowl to Joe Root, who came out of his crease there. One of the first times he's really come charging towards the bowler, clips it out onto the leg side for a single. New man is Harry Brook, one of a number of young, exciting players that Yorkshire are bringing through, and straight away Tom Moores decides he's going to stand up to the stumps. Must have seen where Brook took guard, or the speed that Mullaney's pushing it through, but he's come up to the stumps as Mullaney bowls. Brook is away first ball, clipping it out onto the leg side. 85 for 2. Yorkshire, who won the toss, opted to bat first in a match that at least for the time being we'll see the winner go to the top of the group.
Played quite nicely yesterday, Harry Brook, for 23.
85 for 2. Mullaney now to bowl to Root, who's on 23 from 16 balls faced. Just pushes this one out onto the onside for another single. Mullaney, reputation as a bit of a strangler, ties things up in the middle overs for many years. It was
fewer and fewer
Mullaney and
times
Patel coming on to bowl in tandem after the 6 over power play. You'd often see them bowl 8 overs together. Mullaney 4 from one end, Patel tandem after the the 6-over power play. You'd often see them bowl 8
relatively slowly. That granted against seam bowling, and there was a bit of movement. Just wondered if the Foxes would have been encouraged to try that first up. And a tidy end to the over. So 5 runs coming from it. First over completed, 5 without loss. So this is how the North Division is looking up. Remember, much like the Bob Willis Trophy, 3 divisions in this year's Vitality Blast. 10 games will be played per side, and this is how Leicestershire, so almost as though they've got a win under their belt without actually completing a game. It's surprising to see that Durham, the only side that without a rain-affected game.
Is your money on making it through this group, Daggers?
One of them 6. In fact, 2 of those 6. Thing is, the last time there was 3 divisions in the T20 Blast was 2012 and 2013, when you were at 9 or 10. How old were you?
Don't test my maths. I would have been 13? 13.
Oh, gosh. However, when there were 3 divisions, it used to be called the Mid-Wales West Division, the Central Group. And having a look at the historical figures, if you lost 4 games or fewer, that would get you into the quarterfinals. That's nicely done. Kevin Griffiths coming around from mid-on. And so, with a shortened season, I think it brings the sides a little bit closer together. Get on a bit of a run and anyone could nick it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in these tournaments, you see it in the Championship and you see it in the T20 as well. So whoever gets on that run early, I think, is most likely to be the most successful. Winning's a bit of a habit. So yeah, if you can get a few early wins, 2 or 3 early wins, then you're going to be a tough side to beat. You'll find a formula.
Nicely played. Very nicely played. Moved as late as he possibly could, Scott Steele.
It's great innovation. He's shown a pretty fearless approach here with a reverse sweep early and then a scoop third ball. Just use the pace of it and then complete control of it.
Is the key moving as late as you can?
I think so, yeah. Moving as late as you can so the bowler can't see you go, but also just trying to stay fairly still on contact as well.
It wasn't as pretty.
Yeah, I think with that scoop, whether it's the reverse or the regular scoop, I think it's quite important. Yeah, you want to be still, but you want to try and get your head as close to the ball as you can, obviously without putting yourself in danger, just so you've got a good base and you can sort of watch the ball as closely onto the bat as you can.
Under the over. Tidy one from Tom Taylor. 6 coming off it. 2 gone, 11 without loss. Well, the first part of a double header of Vitality Blast cricket here on Sky Cricket. A little bit later on, Lancashire versus Derbyshire. Following on from this, that game starting about 6:30. Plenty of cricket left in this one, though. More spin, but different spin. Colin Ackerman shouts a catch. He's just going to fall slightly short. Mike. He's got it away well, and all the way.
It's a great shot that. Switched his feet over as well and just launched into it.
He's getting the elevation, just dragged down from Colin Ackerman. Fielders moving all over the show now. Deep cover has gone out. And this should be out. Very easy dismissal. The end of Scott Steele.
So clever bit of bowling from Ackerman. That looked like he just held it back a little bit into the wicket. Just maybe saw him coming at him and just dragged it back, and on his way he goes.
And seemingly pretty soft. Just trying to loft it over Will Davis. Hardly had to move. Leicestershire make the breakthrough then. The dangerous Scott Steele departs for 12 and Durham are 17 for 1. The early breakthrough made for the Foxes. It's got just the right elevation from Alex Lees. Again, just dragged down ever so fractionally from Colin Ackerman. He doesn't miss out.
He's just reacted here. We saw a bit of premeditation earlier, I guess, from Scott Steele. So he's just stood there and delivered, and with 2 men out, it's tough to bowl it.
Well, that's even better. Really true connection. Back-to-back boundaries, 4 and a 6. Lees is starting to motor. End of the 3rd over. Durham 27 for 1. Just felt it was floated just ever so slightly after dragging a couple down. Almost as though Lees was ready for it. Another bowling change for the Foxes, another former Lancastrian as well. Gavin Griffiths, very useful with the white ball.
Yeah, that's centre.
Graham Clark, new man for Durham. Off the mark immediately. Leicestershire chopping and changing, not allowing, or trying to allow the batsman to settle. Ollie Pope?
Absolutely, yeah. I think just with the different spin options, it's hard to set if you've constantly got new bowlers coming in, especially in this first 6. It's not an easy time to bowl a string of overs on the bounce, because a batsman can line you up pretty quickly. So it's important just to keep changing it up and try and be as least predictable as you can, I think.
Third man, fine leg, up inside the circle. Small ball from Griffiths.
It's a good Yorker. Even that, for example, with 2 men out on the leg side, you're expecting probably a hard length in the hip, but he's just tried to be unpredictable, and he's got a wider Yorker. So 6, lovely start.
Is that what you're thinking though? Pre-delivery, you've seen the 2 fielders out on the leg side.
As a batter, yeah, I think so. You're gonna try and work out what the bowler wants to bowl. Yeah, you're gonna try and work out, just have a rough idea of what the bowler's going to do. And in white ball cricket, rather than red ball, you can premeditate a little bit more and just try and have an idea of where your scoring options are, where you want to hit it. And if you bowl slightly shorter, if you want to try and pick it up over fine leg here, for example, then that might be his go-to. But yeah, it is hard. But you don't want to premeditate completely, but you just want to have that rough idea in the back of your mind.
It's nice to bowl, just off-pace delivery. It's amazing you say that, because now with the amount of T20 cricket that's played throughout the course of the calendar year, it's not just necessarily bowler bowls and batsman reacts to what's going on. A lot of the actual gameplay is done prior to the ball actually being bowled from both batsman and bowler.
Yeah, absolutely. I sort of sat down and watched a little bit of the Surrey game yesterday. Sat with Gareth Batty, and I see it from the batter's point of view. As he bowls, I try and work out what he's going to do. But then him from the bowler's point of view, he works with a completely different mindset. But it's a big part of it, and it can allow you to be a lot more successful if you've got a rough idea of what's going to be coming down at you as a batter. Just as important from the bowler's point of view as well.
There's a nice quiet afternoon for you there. Yeah, good over. Afternoon bats, if you're listening. 4 overs gone. Durham 32 for 1. Well, last year, who can forget? Against the Birmingham Bears under the lights at Grace Road. I would have thought the world record hole of the best bowling analysis in T20 might be a Mitchell or a Jasprit. It's a Colin. 7 for 18. Incredible for what you'd consider an occasional off spinner. Grace Road was bouncing that evening. Best figures in world T20 history belong to that man. Having a breather though. Will Davis coming on football ground end. Oh, a bit of a hesitation. Nice piece of fielding. Just fancy Lees was home. Just going to take a look at this. I think the body language suggests that batsman managed to make his ground. However, there was a bit of hesitation in that run. The non-striker. In?
Haven't seen that one before. Wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to target this smaller boundary here. Lees.
That he does.
Pick the pocket.
Listening to Pope on commentary. Nothing more than a short arm jab really through the onside, but always running away from the boundary fielder.
Good bit of batting here. He's not overcomplicating it, not moving around too much in his crease, just standing and hitting the line of it.
That's powerfully struck. Really good from Alex Lees. You can tell he's in a bit of touch. Swift movement of the feet. The connection so pure.
That's probably a better bit of bowling, I guess, with this field. Just trying to cramp him up and bowling to your 2 men out on the leg side.
Usually we're greeted by a blitz of graphics and on the big screens, etc. We've gone back about 20 years. Look at that, the traffic light system. I'm assuming that under the red it says out. We use those lights when learning the hokey cokey. Wonder if they've taken those from the Kirkstall Lane, just behind us. Hammered away, but just can't get it past mid-on. Good over though for Durham. 11 runs coming from it. 1 over of the power play remains 43 for 1. So these are the England squads for the International T20 series against Australia. Nice to see Jofra Archer back. White ball cricket for England.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have been his longest stint in a while without playing any white ball stuff, but he's been really good with the red ball, and yeah, he's just got the natural ability, the pace, and the mental side of it as well to be really successful. So it's good to see him back out there in the coloured kit.
Fabulous win for England yesterday against Pakistan.
Yeah, the amount of talent in that batting lineup to be able to just sort of expect to chase a 200 plus score regularly with that side at the moment is pretty special. It says a lot about them and Morgan as a captain as well.
They'll steal a single.
Just to see the Surrey names in there as well. Got the Currans in. It's always good to see.
Well, these are the fixtures. The 2 bubbles still in place. The T20s down in Southampton, the 4th to the 8th, and then up to Old Trafford they go. The final international cricket of the summer from the 11th to the 16th. Just been prodded by Mark Butcher, actually, about David Willey not being there. Had a fabulous one-day series against Ireland. 5 for in the first game. He scored runs as well. Just shows you how tough a side it is to get in.
Absolutely. There's some very healthy conversation in there. Competition. But yeah, there's obviously some seriously good names miss out at that white ball side. There's a lot of talent around the country. I think, yeah, obviously Willie missing out there just shows how much sort of competition there is for those spots.
Well, that's why Joe Root wanted to get back into T20 for Yorkshire with the World T20 2021 on the horizon. Everyone trying to give themselves as best an opportunity as possible to be part of that squad.
Absolutely, and I'm sure he'll keep trying to put those performances in for Yorkshire while he's not in that England side, in the England T20, and that's exactly what he did. I think it was yesterday.
Meanwhile, Alex Lees is just continuing to tick over nicely here. 28 not out from 20 deliveries. Graham Clark at a run of ball 7. It's a tidy start, this, from Durham. The rate just nudging now above 9s.
Yeah, they're just trying to rebuild a little bit after Scott's dismissal. Scott Steele's dismissal.
Yeah, got him. Big heave-ho attempted by Clark. The old adage of You miss, I hit works for Gavin Griffiths. Middle stump rock back. The second wicket falls just as the power play is starting to close, unless you have their second breakthrough.
It's a lovely bit of bowling. See down here, just got a split seam slower ball, and it's completely done in there.
My mistake, leg stump it was, it matters not. If you're a Leicestershire fan, Graham Clark out for 7 and Durham 47 for 2.
Just slightly. That's it, centre. 1, 2, 2.
David Bedingham, name perhaps one or two might not be too familiar with. New to Durham, this the reason why he's here. Gavin Griffiths, his first success of the day. Here's for Bedingham. South African originally, played a lot of cricket over there. End of the over, 47 for 2.
Great over that to finish up the power play. Some good striking early, but obviously him falling early, and then Leesy took over the show for a little bit, but they've dragged it back nicely here. Have Leicester, and I'm sure they would have taken that at the start. Two wickets in this first 6 is always what you try and aim for as a side in T20s, and to keep them below 50 as well is a good starting block for them moving into the last.
You're right. Not too dissimilar score-wise, but Durham with the extra wicket down. Alex Lee's still there though, 28 off 20. Have to feel that a lot depends on him. And by Middlebrook just signalling restrictions have been relaxed. Yes, I don't know a huge amount about David Bedingham. Played 36 first-class matches over in South Africa, Western Province. And he's here on a UK passport. Played for South Africa under-19s as well. Healthy first-class average of just under 45. So he's not raw.
Not to you. Great start.
In terms of experience. I should just get another one as well. The ricochet, allowing Durham through for the second.
Always handy as a batter that. Got to nick every run you can, especially in T20.
So now the field for Leeds spreads on the leg side. So there's fine leg, deep square, deep mid wicket, long on. No one inside the circle on the leg side. That's well bowled from Taylor. That's the line, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't really afford to bowl any wider to Leeds with that field, I don't think, with third man up, mid-off up. So I think anything that straight and then slower balls, I think, is what we'll be seeing with that kind of field.
Brings up the Durham 50. Right, just continuing to climb. Graham Clark and the captain Nathan Remington pensively watching on from the boundary edge. Then well bowled from Taylor. Just saw the advancing Bedingham, banged it into the pitch. And pretty astute, the Foxes bowlers. Lots of chopping and changing, varying of paces and lengths.
Just a bit of bowling that. They'll try to push 2, but not with that shorter boundary. But that's exactly where he wants it. In at the body, slower ball, and trying to make Lees create all the pace onto it.
Again, just off pace from Taylor. Tidy over. 5 runs coming from it. 7 gone. Durham need to push on here. 52 for 2.
Get your ball in left arm over.
Well, not a lot in it after 7 overs. Durham stayed in touch. The loss of Clark just slowed their progress in the 7th over.
Not to you.
Now we're going to see a bit of spin, perhaps from both ends, from Leicestershire. Callum Parkinson, brother of Matt, of Lancashire and England fame, bowling from the Kirkstall Lane end. You may see the destroyer, but it's Colin Ackerman pull his off breaks from the football stand end, turning it towards that bigger boundary, bigger square boundary.
I like that a lot.
Beddingham finally gets off the mark, 4th delivery. Afternoon, Niall.
Afternoon, rockstar. Absolute rockstar in the com box with me here. Looking fantastic. As are the Foxes, must be said.
I'm showing appreciation for their Wolverhampton Wanderers style kit, where you just think they're going quite well.
Going quite well, the Foxes. Runs on the board. Parkinson had a good season to date, finding his way as a leading spinner at Grace Road.
Yeah, I must admit, I like the look of him. A close eye on him doing his bowl throughs through to the bowling coach. Looks like he gets plenty of energy on the ball as a left arm spinner.
Yeah, he's a top lad. He came to Leicestershire after playing for Derbyshire in a first class game, and Leicester said we like the look of this lad. Feisty cricketer, good economy rate, plenty of energy with the ball and also in the field, can bat down the order. I think Paul Nixon's a good finger spinner on his books here, still learning his craft, especially in the shorter format of the game.
Yeah, not a massive amount for the spinners to work with on this surface at Headingley. It's a tidy over, 58 for 2.
Right arm over.
.177 for 6, the Foxes. Pair of 60s from Lilly and Delaney, both from 45 deliveries. Propelled them there. Both teams searching for their first win of the summer.
Well, Lily was 20 yards off the rope there, deep in the wicket. Quite well positioned, actually. It was a long way off the rope. It is the larger side of the boundary. Nearly caught Beddingham out. Beddingham hit it flat, nearly straight to the man. So it was quite interesting positioning by Aaron Lilly. Not a huge ground.
No, I like that though. I think they're looking to cut off the angles. The ground's quite rectangular in shape. So sometimes as a fielding captain you have to try and work out your angles and just cut them down a little bit. And I think the way that the guys hit the ball nowadays anyway, that if they hit it clean, it doesn't matter if you're standing on the rope, it's going 10 yards over your head. So you may as well position yourself to be able to catch the mishits. You know, take wickets. It's kind of attacking to be off the rope and looking for those miscues.
Yeah, and also Paul Nixon, the Leicestershire coach, will not want twos to the men in the deep. That will be a real pet hate, I would think, for Paul Nixon. You know, dinking it leg side, because that's what Paul Nixon did for most of his career.
And the last thing you want to be doing is having him in your ear for any reason.
He'll be in my ear on the way home in the car, guaranteed. How did you see it from up in your vantage point? What do you reckon? What could we have done better? What could we have maybe done a little bit not quite so well? Great man, Nico.
That has been tagged straight to the man on the short side. And it's success for Davis. In the end of what looked to be a promising innings for Lees. Starved of a bit of strike. And in the end, he's making his way back to the pavilion.
Well, this is a massive wicket. Slammed in, back of the length. I think Lees fancied it at the start. George Rhodes in the deep. Fairly simple catch. Massive wicket because Alex Lees is an in-form batsman. He's got to go for 36 though. Durham, 61 for 3.
Alex Lees, the last man to go. Sean Dixon is the new man in for Durham. Just at 21 games. Very much in the infancy of his T20 career. Another man with South African roots. Also has a first-class treble 100 for Kent. Another one of your old sides, Nobby.
Young Dixon, yeah. Played in the game. He made his debut. And this is Alex Lees. I think he just got a little bit frustrated. He got starved at a strike after David Beddingham came in and just looked like he was just trying to get on with it. Hits it well. Can't believe it. Straight to the man. I cannot believe it. Picks him out.
Yeah, it was 14 runs from 2.5 overs from the time that Beddingham came in. And Lees saw very few of those deliveries. Oh, that would have been gone. I think that would have been gone. And somebody might be struggling to get up as well here. Beddingham has crashed into Davis. Something we might have seen more of at the Lees Rhinos ground behind us.
Would have been out. Surely would have been out, yeah. I have to say, it's probably a missed opportunity in the end of this day and age. You've got 3 stumps to aim at. Not much a bowler could have done, but look at that. Yeah, you're right. Bit of rugby league in that.
Change your bowling. Last time over.
I once ran into Devon Malcolm like that. Came off very much second best. Well, 4th best, actually.
I ran into Devon Malcolm last Thursday in my local.
Did you end up on your backside as well, did you?
It wasn't quite on all fours. It wasn't that big a night.
Up to 11. 11s here. Come to 11s, fellas.
Gareth Delaney. With his part-time leggers. Very much rolls them out of the fingers and not a great deal of revolutions on them. He's having a good day.
Just slightly away. That's it, go.
He picked up a big wicket in that third ODI down at Southampton. Not a big spinner, but just generally drives the ball into the pitch. So he'll be looking for LBW bowl. Dixon needs to stay leg side.
Oh, wow!
Certainly looks like he's got a bit more of an idea of what he's doing than Dom Sibley did in that test match at the Ageas Bowl. Did you see any of that?
I didn't. I switched off by that stage.
It was absolute filth. Would have got me out for sure. Oh! Was there an inside edge? Or did it miss everything?
Nice, Cal.
Well, I think it might have been a half chance behind the sticks. Yeah, byes given. I think it may have been a half chance. It was what we spoke about, Butch. He just slides on. No spin through the gate. Yeah, the back in hand. Good googly. Yeah, probably a half a chance there for Lewis Hill.
Oh, that's gone. That's out of here. It's always the danger. That short side. Part-time leg spinner just drags one down a little bit, and that's been dispatched into the Western Terrace.
Well, it's just what Bedingham needs really to get his innings up and running. He's been very quiet and gets a long hop. It is a shorter boundary that side. In fairness, he hit it out of the screws. It would have been 6 both sides. Just shows you how difficult a game it is. He bowled a beautiful legs, a beautiful googly, beat the batsman and it beats the keeper. He goes for a couple of byes, and then so you should have had a wicket potentially, and then you jag one down and get hit 20 rows back.
Lewis Hill gathered that one in, just smothered it down the leg side. Have another go. Well, it'll be a costly extra one. No, well bowled. 6 aside. It was a decent over from Delaney. 10 gone, 75 for 3.
Nice down.
Well, Lees was the mainstay. Looked good. Got starved at a strike and ended up getting caught deep square. He was very disappointed. 36 from 29. Bedingham just hit one into the stand leg side. Got his innings up and running. There is a bit of batting to come. Pointer can play. Carson Coughlin can hit big. But Sean Dixon, mid-season move from Kent, signed on a 2.5-year contract. It's had a tricky start to his first class career at Durham.
Wait.
He played in his Kent debut against Leicester. It was a handle ball.
Good here, lad.
What a start that is to your first class career.
I'm watching Michael Vaughan giving out handle ball. Test match in Bangalore.
One, Tommy.
That's quite right too. I don't know what he was doing. Just decided to pick the ball up and throw it to short leg, facing Anil Kumble, I think. And they just appealed and he was out. ...2001 that was, boy.
One.
So how did he do it? What was the scenario?
Fairly soon he just dead batted one. It was rolling back on the stumps and he just flicked his hand at it, and no one really noticed it. And I saw it, of course I did. And
oh, that's... Well, we'll have to have a look at that, I think. Not sure what Davis was doing down there. He tried to envelop the ball in his midriff. Forced him back onto the rope down there, lost control of it. I think he's done ever so well.
What about this trailing left elbow as it comes through?
I wonder if he's lost contact with the ball by then. It just knocks it away there. Oh, but did it touch his other arm?
I just wonder, could he have maybe been a bit more aggressive and gone for the catch?
This is going to have to be the one. Sort of ricochets back off that right elbow, doesn't it? Any part of the left arm touching the rope when that happens, very difficult to spot. Got to give him the benefit of the doubt there, haven't you?
Benefit goes to the batsman, that's 4.
Two it is. Have another go. Gone. That's the end of Dixon. A pretty tame end as well. And Parkinson has his first.
Well, that's a poor dismissal. Sean Dixon. It's well bowled. Callum Parkinson tossed it up a little bit. Sean Dixon attacking the shorter straight boundary, simple catch. It's another good breakthrough for the Foxes. Durham are reeling a little bit. Dixon's gone for 5, 80 for 4.
Over up, Robert. Huh? Over up. Over up.
Durham's wicketkeeper batsman, Stuart Pointer, is the new man in. He'll take strike. As Durham run into a bit of a brick wall. Acquired rate is careering up towards 11. And the partnerships have just not been forthcoming since the dismissal of Lees. Ackerman's been very keen to switch his bowlers around. Hasn't allowed any batsman to settle against the same type of bowling.
Slightly away. That's it, yeah.
Batsman to settle against the same type of bowling. And Davies, after getting himself into a tangle the previous delivery, makes light work of that. Well bowled, Callum Parkinson.
Well, speaking about Ackerman changing his bowlers, Griffiths is the only bowler to have bowled 2 in a row. So whether that's Paul Nixon or Tom Smith, who's the bowling coach, ex-Lancashire all-rounder, or whether it's Ackerman himself just getting a bit of a hunch, but Durham batsmen have had no answers so far.
Not got hold of that either. Oh, and Lilly is in. Again, a long way off the rope. Just seem to be struggling to find the middle of the bat at the moment. The pitch is slowed down, or it's just clever bowling from the Foxes.
Yeah, I think credit to the Foxes, really. They've assessed conditions quite nicely. Obviously got feedback from Delaney. It's good effort from Aaron Lilly in the end. I'd like to see that. Go for the catch.
Oh, he's nailed that. That has gone. Middle of the pitch, middle of the bat, middle of the stand.
Well, you can't keep just slamming the ball in. That was an absolute beauty. So the first one has come off betting it was a bat that sounded really, really good. That's gone a long way into the terrace. 24 from 18, he's up and running. 2 maximums. Got some batting to come here. Durham, Coughlin can bat, Cars can hit. Still a bit of batting to come. Could have quite a good finish on our hands here. Game nicely poised.
That's really well bowled. Good finish from Tom Taylor. 89 for 4. Elsewhere in the blast, the Rapids taking on Gloucestershire in the central group. Gloucestershire 197 for 3, Worcester 134 for 5, with 5 and a bit overs left. 64 from 31. Worcester not lost to Gloucestershire in 14 years at Worcester. And the Outlaws taking on the Vikings, or Yorkshire, are 173 for 6. And it's another 50 for Joe Root, who has been left out of England's T20 squad. Just out for 65, backing up his 50 against Derby yesterday. What do you make of no Joe Root in the T20 squad then? Obviously there's no Jason Roy, there's no Ben Stokes for reasons beyond selection. But no Joe Root for you? Best player in the last World T20.
Unless Stuart Pointer to a tee. Wicketkeeper loves sweeping, reverse sweeping. He'll know plenty of Gareth Delaney as well. Ex-Irish international Stuart Pointer. Well, it's strange to me, but I'm not going to lie. I think Joe Root's a class act in all formats of the game. Going back to Yorkshire, a bit of freedom really. Play with a bit of freedom, go out and express yourself. Back-to-back 60 scores.
He's barely played any T20 cricket since that World T20. However, if Joe Denley's in that squad, there's got to be a place for Joe Root, isn't there?
Well, yeah, because, you know, I suppose the selector will say Denley offers a bit with the ball in the field. Joe Root does exactly the same thing. Go back to the World Cup final in Eden Gardens, Calcutta. Joe Root picks up wickets.
Oh, I like it.
It's not a case of him being rested for the format, is it? I mean, England don't know when they're going to play their next cricket, do they?
Well, I don't think we're in a case that need to be resting players. There has been such little cricket. Okay, we've been playing a pretty hectic schedule for the last couple of months. England don't know what cricket they've got coming up over the next couple of months. Nothing's penciled in. We're waiting some tour schedules.
So that's a no then.
And I'm also in Leeds, so I have to keep banging the Joe Root drum, otherwise I might not get out of the ground.
I don't know. I just think he's a world-class player.
Right up here.
But they see it differently at the moment. And there's a lot of people sort of writing that he shouldn't get anywhere near the T20 squad. Memories are very short.
Oh, down.
That's a good way to finish the over. It plugs in the outfield. We had so much rain here over the course of last week, the beginning of this bank holiday weekend, that it's still very soft out there on the green pastures of Headingley. 97 for 4.
Callum Parkinson to continue. Opportunity just falling short. Nicely done On the boundary edge, though, saving the 4. Delaney it is, a deep backward square. But it's looking tough for Durham here. Right, just creeping up towards 12 and over. 2 a ball. How do you see it, Lydia?
Yeah, I agree, Daggers. Durham, just the fact that they've lost the top 3 already. Parkinson's bowled well.
Shouts a catch and taken. And that might be the wicket that secures it for the Foxes. David Bedingham just slicing, trying to play across the line. Ben Mike taking a very smart catch low down.
It just looked as if Bedingham was looking to go up and over the offside there. A thick outside edge. Simple catch in the end. Parkinson's bowled very well today. Cut that wicket. Bedingham's, he's gone for 27. Durham 100 for 5.
Much like his brother, Callum Parkinson, proving to be really key for the Foxes. Matt for Lancashire, but Callum for Leicestershire. Both Lancashire boys, Bolton boys.
Oh, get it! Hold, hold.
2 wickets he's picked up. This is final over. He's only conceded 20 runs though.
He's bowled with good control. Not a huge amount of turn today. He bowled well in the red ball competition earlier on in the season. Certainly pushing to be that frontline spinner.
Oh, well taken. Brilliant. Reaction catch. You see what it means to Parkinson. Thundered back at him by Cars. And it's stuck in that right paw.
I think he's enjoyed this one, Daggers. Brilliant reactions. It was struck firmly back to him. The umpire was probably pretty pleased that he's taken this catch in the end. Nice little celebration as well. That's the end of Cast. Just 2 balls faced for him. Scored 1. Durham 102 for 6.
Shows you the ferocity with which that was hit. I would say Tim Robinson, nifty footwork. The umpire. Brilliant spell of 4 overs for Callum Parkinson. 3 for 21. Certainly done his job today. Fine analysis.
I got it, David.
Durham have to, of course, take as many risks as possible. Pointer is a good player though. Coughlin, no mug with the bat either. Just a long way to go.
Backing up. Who's up?
I think Leicestershire have bowled quite well, considering that they've not actually had a bowling innings in the T20 so far. Skills have been good. They change ups and change downs.
Yeah, that's so important as well, having the plans. It's the work you do before the game as well. Looking at the individual players, the batters you're going to come up against.
Just a couple. When you've got the experience of that man leading you, he's had success in the Caribbean Premier League as a coach and triple success with Leicestershire as a player, 04, 06 and 2011. He won the domestic T20 with Leicestershire. So a huge amount of experience. Fabulous motivator, a brilliant teammate. Just a bundle of energy. No matter how desperate the situation seemed on the field, whatever, there was one man who was always bubbling, always thought there was a way. Just chip for another couple.
We were just talking, Daggers, Durham have lost their way a little bit in these middle overs. Not too much of a difference in the batting power play. Leicestershire 49 for 1, Durham 47 for 2. Shows it's crucial picking up wickets in those middle overs.
Three twos, three singles from the 15th over. Durham 111 for 6.
See where the wickets have fallen as well. You see now the run rate starting to dip. A lot of work to do now for Durham.
Yeah, the rate's up to 13.5.
Get your bowling right up, over.
Games have been won from this position before, but you just feel that you need to have a set player there. Kevin Griffiths, another former Lancastrian with tidy figures. 1 for 9 off his 2 overs so far. It was part of the Lancashire side that won T20 a couple of years back. What's interesting, there's no superstars, if you like, in this Leicestershire side. But one thing that Paul Nixon always was prevalent on was the knowing of your role within that side and the success that you could have because of it.
Yeah, so important as well. Probably the only big name missing for Leicestershire this season is Mark Cosgrove. Has a huge influence. Good running in the end. A very influential player across all formats of the game, and I'm sure someone like Paul Nixon would miss that, and that's where you have to call upon your senior players. But as you say, Daggers, knowing your role as well, what's expected of you, really important.
Again, change of pace. It's very good from Gavin Griffiths. He disguised it well. But just the set-up from Griffiths to get Graham Clark. He's not express. 78, 79 miles an hour. 1 at 80. And there it is. Length's very similar. Arm coming over at the same speed, but just 10 or so miles an hour slower. It's gone high. It's gone far as well. It's really well picked up from Coughlin. All Aaron Lilly could do, watch it sail over his head. Now he's got to go and fetch it.
Well, the biggest difference here was just the length was slightly fuller in the previous deliveries that we've seen. That's allowed Coughlin to clear the ropes pretty comprehensively.
There's another slower ball from Gavin Griffiths. I just wonder now, batsman at this level and the elite level as well. Oh, well played. Very nicely played. That should squeeze through, should be 4. Just the lift Durham require. Coughlin now getting in on the act. Sort of late twist to be had for Durham here.
Yeah, well manoeuvred in the end. Third man was up in the ring, as was Point. Managed to find that gap.
Another slow one, a bit too early on it though, Coughlin, but a decent over for Durham, 13 from it, 4 overs remain, 124 for 6. So 54 required from 24 deliveries. That's the situation in the first part of our double header here on Sky Cricket. A little bit later. Lancashire versus Derbyshire. 2 North Group games being played here at Emerald Headingley. So Delaney to continue. Yeah, just on that point though, Lydia, your thoughts on watching Tom Curran actually yesterday. It seemed as though some of the Pakistan batsmen just towards the back end of an innings actually thinking that his stock ball that he was going to be bowling was the slow ball, setting up for that, and then his change up would be the quicker one or the Yorker, but that's gone very, very high. Taken. Comfortable from Tom Taylor. Delaney, his good game continues. Coughlin's little cameo comes to an end.
Well, this was in the air a long, long time. A few of the fielders were looking around to see whose was it. In the end, good catch, comfortable. And that's the end of Paul Coughlin. He's gone for 15. Durham 125 for 7.
Batsman crossed whilst the ball was in the air. Pointer could just get the single. Travaskis, Liam Travaskis, the new batsman at the crease.
Good work, Del boy. Come on, lad, eh? Yeah, 1.
Chipped into space, might have had enough of it to go all the way. Nicely done.
I got it, Del, if you want.
Down on the boundary edge.
Word, Del boy. Great work, buddy. Where is it? One dot to finish. Up to 16 this ball there.
Excellent over for the Foxes and for Gareth Delaney. Just 5 runs, the wicket of Paul Coughlin. With 3 overs remaining, Durham lead 49 from 18, 129 for 7.
Come in.
going back to your point, Daggers, about Tom Curran and his bowling, I think you're right. I think these days the variations that we see are more often than those stock balls. Tom Curran is someone who's played all over the world. Sydney Sixers is where he's had a lot of his success, actually, with the bat and the ball, but with his bowling especially, his variations are unbelievable. Back of the hand, slower balls, the cutters.
I mean, I've used him as an example, but when you have weapons such as that, I just wonder if batters do actually just prepare for that first and then have something to adapt to when it is the Yorker or the quicker delivery.
I think it's easier to adjust to as well. We've just seen there, actually, slower balls, if you're not setting yourself up for them, they're actually quite hard to dispatch or deal with how you want to. If it's a little bit quicker, you can adjust, I think, more easily. If you're setting yourself up for slower balls, I think you're giving yourself a better chance.
Just flick the pad. 3 dot balls though to start this over. Victory a long way off now for Durham. Leicestershire on the cusp. Travaskis just needs to lay something on it.
Keep it.
Another couple. And it looks as though Durham are going to start their Vitality Blast season off with 3 defeats. Difficult to come back from, not impossible. Obviously, with no overseas players coming over, Darcy Short was such a huge part of. Okay, they didn't have success, they didn't go into the quarterfinals, but they're in and around. You take almost 500 runs and 13 wickets away from a side, and it's obviously going to have a huge effect. What is pleasing to see is that 2 Pakistan players are going to be involved in the blast. Once they're done, Barbara Azam down at Somerset and Shaheen Shah Afridi for Hampshire.
Yeah, overseas players are so important. Just listening to Marcus North talk about overseas and their impacts. Durham 134 for 7. And it isn't just the skills that they bring, it's also the experience as well, especially in a competition like this.
Yeah, absolutely. These players go all around the world in a variety of different leagues. As we know, the CPL is going on right at this moment in time. Hopefully before too long things get back to normal. Have the stars returning, the crowds returning, maybe next year. Just keep our fingers crossed that that is the case. So Will Davis to bowl his last over. 2 overs remain, 44 needed for Durham. Very disciplined of So there's no one with express pace, but when they've bowled their Yorkers, they've been right on the mark. Their slower balls have been in the right areas.
Yeah, and they've taken their chances as well. I think that's been a big difference. We saw Durham, they dropped a few catches. They're tough chances, some of them. They make the difference as well.
Wonder if Durham coach James Franklin might dust off the cobwebs on his kit and fancy a game himself. Very fine player. Spent a long time at Middlesex, the New Zealand international. He's got to watch his charges on the sidelines now. North, Director of Cricket up at Durham. Just dragged down. Some serious experience that Durham could call on should they need to. Marcus North, James Franklin.
Yeah, not a bad duo. It's interesting listening to Marcus North, and he said the big thing, I think last year Durham were a couple of wins off making the knockout stages, and he said for them this season it's about those key moments, you know, under pressure. Can they perform?
Almost undone. Ben Mike it is, long off boundary, quite happy I'm sure that the ball plugged. Put the brakes on, there it is.
Every level of cricket you play, you wait for the call of spin, spin.
Gone. Low full toss, straight to extra cover. End of pointer, and the captain takes a comfortable catch to his right hand side. Just going to take a look, questioning the height of the full toss. On first glance it seemed okay. Checking the front foot, that's fine. Going to be okay, and it is the end of pointer. Worth a check, but pointer goes for 23 and Durham 140 for 8. Matty Potts, new man at the crease.
Yes, Tommy. Oh, Tom, that's lovely.
1 over remains then. Good game to win from here. They need 37 to win from 6.
Back of the hand, slower ball, good catch. Awkward height. Do you go reverse hands? Do you go conventional? Hankman on the conventional, just taking it over his shoulder. As you say though, Daggers, a lot of work to do for Durham. 37 off the 6 balls. Bit of range hitting practice for these two.
A lot's got to go their way. One aspect of a really well-drilled, organised T20
useful chip-ins with both bat and ball. More than useful chip-in, that 98 down here. But this one is pretty much a replica of some of the shots he was playing off Samit Patel. Dispatched over mid-wicket, high, wide and very handsome from Ben Duckett, and a maximum. 11 from 9 for him. And Jordan Thompson's delivery disappearing much as he was doing with Samit Patel in the red ball game here. 36 for 2 now, the Outlaws.
It's just where the stand is. Whenever you've got a left-hander at this end, you always seem to fancy they're going to be able to propel it towards there. It's not quite the same when you get a right-hander hitting it into the William Clark for some reason.
No, Thompson in. This time it's wide of off stump. Again, superb piece of fielding this time from Adam Lyth. He's not going to stop the one, but he certainly stopped a boundary. Saves 3 for his team. Out there in the covers. Diving to his left. Duckett on to 12 then from 10. Nash 13 from 11 is back on strike. And Knott's now 37 for 2. Halfway through the 5th. Jordan Thompson switches to bowling over the wicket then to the right-hander. He's in now. It's full but down the leg side. And not given as a wide. So presumably must have clipped the pad on the way through. Not easy to tell.
David Caldecott says the banner says why pick Joe Denley and not Joe Root in England's T20 squad.
And Root hasn't made the T20 squad, has he?
He's in the ODI squad.
So Thompson in, and this one lofted over straight mid-wicket. It's going to be bouncing 3 times before it disappears over the boundary rope out there in the distance for 4 more. So expensive over so far from Jordan Thompson. He's gone for 11. Still one to come. With that big 6 from Ben Duckett, and now another boundary from Chris Nash. 41 for 2. 1 ball left in the 5th over. So just 7 left in these power play overs. Yorkshire have got a man back on the long on boundary. It's Joe Root, and the man back on the deep square leg boundary. Everybody else, of course, inside the circle. That's a good response from Jordan Thompson to finish the over in the end with a Yorker just outside off stump, and Nash content to dig it out. 17 to him, 12 to Duckett, 5 overs gone, and Nottinghamshire 41 for 2.
Yeah, I fancy it was a slower ball as well, which Chris Nash had to just readjust and dig out right at the very end, having been prepared to propel it many a mile if he could. So we're through 5 overs. The power play for Yorkshire ended with them on 53 for 1. So Notts would need 12 runs from this over to get up there in terms of runs, but they're already a wicket worse off. It's going to be Joe Root to bowl his 2nd over. Chris Nash put him away for a couple of boundaries in his 1st over, which went for 8. Root this time from the Radcliffe Road end, round the wicket to the left-hander Duckett, who goes for a slog sweep. He's got it away much finer than he intended. It's running away towards the pavilion fence and will go all the way over the ropes for 4. Duckett improvising from the off and gets Joe Root on the back foot straight away with a boundary. The 2 men out on the leg side for Yorkshire. End of this over, of course, more can be released into the wild. Root once more bowls again the reverse, and it's hit away on the leg side. He's got under it a little bit, so he's going to plug, won't skip on and reach the ropes, but they will come back for 2. Duckett on to 18, 47 for 2.
Matt Pillar's doing the fielding. Those eagle-eyed among you, he's changed his number this year from 47 to 13.
Next ball, down the leg side, and a long way down the leg side from Joe Root. He was obviously anticipating that Duckett would look to switch it again. This one outfoxes the former Northants man, Ben Duckett, who does well not to just dolly one up there to Thompson at short extra. Root in again. Gone on the reverse. LBW appeal. Ian Ramage, the umpire, says not out. As the throw comes in, they take a leg by. 49 for 2. Duckett has 18, Nash had 17. They both faced 14 deliveries.
If it wasn't on the full light, it was pretty close, wasn't it? It was a full-length delivery. Quite difficult to tell whether it just bounced in front of his toe end.
It's tough for the umpire when a left-hander's playing all his shots right-handed, isn't it, as well? It really is. difficult. So Nash on strike, knots on 49. That's short and just hurried on, just skipped on a little bit to Chris Nash, who wasn't able to get any significant leverage on the ball, but gets the single nonetheless. So 50 up, 50 for 2.
Exactly the same time it took Yorkshire, 5.5 overs. Next
ball is pushed into the offside, and Thompson will field, so that's the end of the power play overs. 50 for 2. Yorkshire at the same stage were 53 for 1.
Yeah, so the contest that we thought we might be seeing before this game got underway is coming to fruition. Nothing in it really, just that one extra wicket for Yorkshire and 3 runs fewer for the Outlaws. And we're going to see Matty Pillans for the first time today, bowling from the pavilion end of the ground. Over number 7. Can be quite sharp, Matthew Pillans. I think he's been clocked at around about 90.
Yeah, one of his first games in this country was for Surrey, or I don't know, where would it be, 4 or 5 years ago now, and it was a bit slippery then, didn't stay long with Surrey, didn't get many opportunities.
Here he comes pounding in there for his first delivery. It's a good one, round about middle and leg. It's turned 2 leg by Chris Nash, and Yorkshire, having set the field back in greater number, have to rely on Matthew Fisher to come charging in from the square leg boundary and field, and keeps them to 1. 51 for 2.
We often talk about how in this competition, the Blast, sides get very familiar with each other. The North always play the North, the South always play the South. Chris Nash playing his first game against Yorkshire since 2012, when he appeared against them in the semi-final, on the semi-finals day at Cardiff.
Here's Pillans, but it's down the leg side, and Duckett tried to get a flick on, missed, but Knox will pick up a run from the wide. 52 for 2. Yeah, semi-final in 2012. Yorkshire beat...
They lost to Sussex in the semi-finals, and Sussex beat Somerset.
Yep. I'm thinking of the year that they got to the final against Hampshire. Here is Pillans in, and that's pushed into the offside. Root does the fielding, no run. That was at Sophia Gardens, wasn't it?
They were low and slow, weren't they? It's not generally not been regarded as the best finals day, because they were all relatively low scores. Edgbaston has very much become the home of finals day.
Pillans in, third ball of the 7th, short, pulled by Duckett. He's not quite going to get the boundary from it, because Adam Lyth, patrolling the boundary, does well, much in the way that Duckett himself had done for the Outlaws in the field. So 2 to Ben Duckett takes him to 20. He's got the predominance of this 38-run partnership so far for the third wicket.
Of course, finals day this year penciled in for the 3rd of October. That's the far and away the latest. We'll have had it.
Pillans into Duckett, who works it backward of square this time. Will Frayne round to do the chasing, and good job he did as well, because George Hill, who came in first, fumbled it, and that's cost him a run there. So 2 to Duckett. Have you got the thermals and the scarf on standby in case you make it to finals day then? It's a bit parky, isn't it?
There's a lot of water to pass under a lot of bridges, I think, before any side can start thinking about finals day.
Pillans, a couple of little skips that he does at the start of his run, charges in then to Duckett, wide of off stump, and that's lofted over the gully region down to third man, where Josh Poisden is round to do the fielding, and they get through for 1 more.
Can't find boundaries, can they, at the moment? They're getting lots of 1s and lots and 2s, but Yorkshire have been masters over the last couple of overs of having the right fielders in the right place to stop the ball going for boundaries.
Pillans has got a sweeper out then at cover. He's got a 3 set back on the leg side, and he's in again, this time to Nash, who opens the face and runs it to Jordan Thompson. Gun fielder, of course, just backward a point, and there is no run. So decent start from Matt Pillans. He went for 7 off the over, but Nottinghamshire 57 for 2 by comparison to Yorkshire's 65 for 1 at the same stage.
Yeah, Jordan Thompson at backward point here, of course, in the Bob Willis Trophy, ran out Joe Clark's brilliant bit of fielding and direct hit to send Clark on his way.
Josh Poisden, by the looks of it, coming on at this Radcliffe Road end.
A bit of the old Scissors Sisters. We approve of one. I'm sure they absolutely don't care less whether I'm enjoying the music or not. Poisden then will bowl his leggies. Former Warwickshire man, had a nasty head injury last year, and when Jonathan and I were in the commentary box at North Marine Road for the championship game at Scarborough, he came and did the game with us and shared memories of his head injury with Luke Fletcher, who of course had also suffered a nasty blow. 57 for 2. Duckett is on strike. He's on 23 from 19. Nash has 19 from 17. The leg spinner tosses one up and Duckett whacks it away on the leg side. He was at full stretch. Adam Live again on the ropes does well to scoop it back into play, and Harry Brook with the return 2 from it.
Yeah, 2 for 30 odd yesterday, Josh Poisden. I think he was the most expensive of, he definitely was the most expensive of the Yorkshire bowlers, but good to see him back among the wickets. I'll do his confidence no harm.
59 for 2, 132 more needed from best part of 13 overs. Duckett again goes down on one knee and puts it away on the leg side. Out to Matthew Fisher, patrolling that boundary on the Fox Road side of the ground, where Duckett himself performed so admirably early on. He really did make plenty of very, very good stops, and not only that, he turned a lot of potential 2s into 1s by the speed he got there. He also caught Harry Brook out there on that rope as well. So Duckett had a good time of things in the field, and he's got off to a start. He's on 26. Nash on strike on 19. Nash punch.